The United States has remained a unified nation for centuries, but history has shown that no country is immune to political, economic, or cultural fractures. Some U.S. states have strong independent identities, economic power, or political movements that could lead to secession in the future. While breaking away from the U.S. would be incredibly difficult legally and economically, some states have serious secessionist movements or unique conditions that make them potential candidates for independence. In this video, we'll explore 10 U.S. states that could potentially break away in the future, looking at their reasons, movements, and feasibility. From Texas to California, let's dive into the states that might one day go their own way. Ten. Texas. Texas has the strongest secessionist movement in the U.S. due to its unique history and economic strength. It was an independent republic before joining the U.S. in 1845, and many Texans still take pride in their state's self-reliance. The Texas nationalist movement has long pushed for independence, arguing that Texas has a strong economy, with a GDP comparable to major global economies. Politically, Texas leans conservative, and some supporters believe it would function better without federal government interference. However, secession is legally complex, as the U.S. Constitution does not provide a clear path for states to leave. Additionally, Texas relies on federal infrastructure, military bases, and interstate trade, making independence a difficult but not impossible challenge. 9. California. California has the largest economy of any U.S. state, ranking as the 5th largest in the world. The Calexit movement has gained traction over the years, especially after political shifts at the federal level that many Californians disagree with. With a strong economy driven by technology, agriculture, and entertainment, some argue that California could thrive as an independent nation. However, breaking away would come with massive challenges, such as negotiating trade agreements, federal debts, and military presence. While some Californians support independence, the movement lacks widespread backing, making secession unlikely in the near future. 8. Hawaii. Hawaii was an independent kingdom before being annexed by the U.S. in 1898. Many native Hawaiians and activists still believe the annexation was illegal and advocate for restoring Hawaiian sovereignty. The Hawaiian independence movement has legal arguments and historical backing, with some seeking recognition from international organizations. As an island state, Hawaii has the geographic advantage of being able to function separately from the mainland. However, its dependence on U.S. military presence and federal funding makes secession a difficult prospect. Despite this, calls for Hawaiian independence continue, especially among indigenous rights groups. 7. Alaska. Alaska was purchased from Russia in 1867 and has always had an independent streak. With vast natural resources, it has a strong economic foundation through oil and fishing industries. The Alaskan Independence Party has long advocated for breaking away, arguing that the state sends more money to Washington than it receives. Alaska's remote location makes it geographically suited for independence, but its reliance on federal subsidies and defense makes secession a risky move. Additionally, the population is relatively small, making it harder to sustain a fully independent government. 6. New Hampshire. New Hampshire has a strong libertarian culture and a history of supporting minimal government intervention. The Free State Project encourages libertarians to move to New Hampshire and promote independence from federal control. Some residents believe the U.S. government oversteps its authority and that New Hampshire would function better on its own. While the movement is not as strong as Texas or California's, the state's individualistic attitude and small population could make it a potential candidate for secession. However, economic and military reliance on the U.S. presents major challenges. 5. Vermont. Vermont was an independent republic from 1777 to 1791 before joining the U.S. The state has a strong progressive movement and has occasionally entertained the idea of secession. The Second Vermont Republic movement argues that Vermont could create a sustainable, self-sufficient nation with its strong agricultural sector and environmentally focused policies. While Vermont's economy is smaller than other secessionist states, its history and political culture make it a unique candidate for independence. 4. Oregon has seen growing political divisions between urban and rural areas, leading to discussions of breaking away or even merging with neighboring states to form a new entity. The Greater Idaho movement proposes that conservative eastern Oregon should separate from the liberal western part of the state. While full independence is unlikely, Oregon's internal divisions highlight a broader trend of political dissatisfaction that could lead to drastic measures in the future. 3. South Carolina. South Carolina was the first state to secede from a union during the Civil War, and some residents still carry that independent spirit. While there isn't a major secession movement today, its strong conservative base has occasionally entertained the idea of breaking away due to dissatisfaction with federal policies. South Carolina's economy is growing, but its reliance on federal aid makes secession unlikely. However, history has shown that political shifts can reignite old ideas. 2. Florida. Florida has a unique position as a major economic powerhouse with strong ties to Latin America. Its large population and independent-minded culture, particularly in areas like Miami, have sparked discussions about autonomy. While no formal secession movement exists, Florida's economic strength and strategic location make a potential candidate if national divisions continue to grow. 1. Washington State has a strong tech industry, a booming economy, and a progressive culture that sometimes clashes with federal policies. Some in Washington have proposed forming a separate nation with Oregon and parts of British Columbia, called Cascadia. While the movement remains niche, the idea of breaking away for political and economic independence is occasionally discussed. However, Washington's reliance on federal support and trade agreements makes secession a long shot. While secession is legally and economically challenging, these 10 states have unique historical, political, and economic conditions that fuel discussions about independence. Whether through strong economies, cultural identities, or political movements, the idea of breaking away remains a topic of debate. While the U.S. has survived past divisions, the future remains uncertain. What do you think? Could any of these states realistically leave the U.S. in the coming decades? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for watching.